the City of Lawrence Board of Public Works and Safety meeting for March 10th, 2022. That means I'm calling the meeting to order. The minutes of the regular meeting of February 24th, 2022. Is there any changes or corrections that need to be made? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
I second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved.
I was thinking you were supposed to ask, are there any
Okay,
questions?
we'll do that on the next one.
Okay.
All right, there's no unfinished business and new business. The first item up is a big one. It is the opioid litigation and its action items. Oh, I am so sorry. I forgot. We're moving a little bit around here today. Our first item is item G, is that correct? Or do you need the Corson one first?
Okay.
Let's do item F, approval of agreement for services with Corson Fire and Security regarding Fire Station 37.
Yes. So this happened after we did the budget from last year. We started having some leaks in Station 37. We fixed one section, another section started leaking, fixed another section, another part started leaking. So we have to replace by code the entire sprinkler system in that station. That station is over 20 years old. And if we piecemeal this thing, it's going to end up costing us probably twice what this quote is to do the entire job. And this has been through legal, and I've talked to the controller, and the money's available to pay for this service by Corson. We did get 3 bids on this, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, I've dealt with those systems, and you piecemealing it is just putting a Band-Aid on a...
We tried.
Yeah. So any questions from the audience, from our board?
No.
None? Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
And I second. And seeing no other questions, do I have a verbal motion to approve? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. The approval of the Corson Fire Safety installation is approved.
Thank you.
Yes. And our next item is item G, which is the Lawrence Fire Department Zoll Medical Corporation lease. And any other comments?
We have been working on this since the latter part of November into December, and the attorney, the city attorney, Caitlin here, she doesn't like when I use the word city attorney, so Caitlin, she has worked diligently with the legal from Zoll and some of the people there to try to get this. And it was all changes that help protect the city for warranty work, and some of the stuff was subbed out to another a law firm. So what this is, our monitors are about 12 years old. So like about every 10 or 12 years, they need to be replaced. It's the heart monitors that the medics use. It paces, it shocks, it does like the 12 lead. And so we're doing a 10-year contract, which would start if this board approves it, and it runs for 10 years. After 5 years, they totally replace all our monitors after 5 years. So it's 10 years, and so we don't have to redo anything for the first 5 years. If technology changes, like from now in the next 2 or 3 or 4 years, they'll do it sooner. But 5 years is the halfway mark, and they'll replace all those monitors. The warranties is what was looked at legally, and it pretty much, as long as there's not abuse to that equipment, pretty much everything. And batteries are very expensive. They're horrendous for this, and those are replaced cables, and so it pretty much does protect us in the normal everyday use for these monitors. So it's 11 monitors for 10 years with a replacement after 5, with no additional cost. And the controller said that the money's there from our debt service fund.
Okay.
Legally, I feel good about this. We spent a really long time on it, making sure that everything's right, so, yeah.
Because you're
I signed off on everything.
You're the attorney extraordinaire.
Yeah.
So can we approve all line items, 1, 2, and 3, with one motion?
For this, just because of what it is, if you don't mind, I would go through them. One is just the actual procurement, so it's just a motion, a vote on them actually leasing the equipment. The second is just approving
The equipment,
the master application service provider agreement, which is really just the software agreement. And the third is the actual master lease agreement document itself. So just to cover our bases, if you guys don't mind.
okay. So without any questions, motion to approve, do we have a motion to approve the Lawrence Fire Department lease of X-Series Advanced Manual Monitor and Defibrillator and associated equipment?
Yes, motion to approve the lease agreement.
And I second. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion 1 is approved. Second up is the approval of the ALS-BLS Software Solution Master Application Service Provider Agreement. I'm sure that all rolls into,
Yeah, it's just additional terms. It's not additional cost or anything, but it's just another agreement to get signed, so.
okay. Hearing that, is there a motion to approve?
Yes, motion to approve the software.
And I second that. Hearing no questions, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion to approve the software application, master application. And now we're on to item 3, approval of master lease agreement with Zoll Medical Corporation. Same, it all rolls under the same Zoll Medical Corporation lease. I don't think there's any, do you have any? So do we have a motion to approve?
Yes, motion to approve the master lease agreement.
And I second that. All in favor of the approval of the master lease agreement with Zoll Corporation, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item number 3 is approved, and we're done with you.
I want to tell this board thank you, and also to Caitlin, because we started entering into this the latter part of October, first part of November. There's a substantial price increase that takes effect April 1st. So it wasn't like a tactic for them to push us, because we've had all these months, but there's just so much legally to work out. And thank you to, it's given our medics the tools capable of better providing service to our citizens. So I want to thank the board and Caitlin for your hard work. So.
Well, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. And next item on the list, we can go back to new business with item A, the opioid litigation. We have the first item up is the approval of resolution 1. Opt back into the settlement pursuant to Indiana Code, let's just say 4615-2.
And if you guys want, I can give you like a brief blurb of how we got here. As you know, this has been going on a long time. The city of Lawrence, along with a lot of other cities and towns, are pursuing damages from manufacturers, distributors, sellers of opioids. And we are all represented by counsel. A lot of us are represented by the same counsel. And they asked us to opt out of Indiana's last statute because it was not going to give us a fair deal. And they actually went and worked with the legislature to get some things fixed. There's 3 things they got fixed regarding fund allocation, attorney's fees, and there was something that would prevent us from participating in other settlements. They have all of those things fixed, and now their legal advice is for us to opt back in. They feel comfortable doing that. The bill passed and was actually signed by the governor just today. So we had to switch up the resolution a little bit just to say it's been signed by the governor. This will allow us to begin receiving fund distributions, I think within the next few months, actually, instead of going forward and then there's many new requirements if we want to continue litigating, and they don't advise that we do that with these defendants. So there's various items that we can go through. The first is the resolution to opt back in. It's basically the same thing we did opting out. Then there's the actual participation agreements, which is the distributor settlement and the Jansen settlement. The distributors are McKesson, Cardinal, and AmerisourceBergen. Those are 2 different settlements. Approval of the notice of election to opt back in is really just another document we're sending off saying that we opted back in, similar to the resolution. And the approval of amendment to existing attorney's fees. I've read through that, made sure everything looked good. Basically, we're actually reducing the fees owed to our counsel because the state has made kind of a backstop fund so that they can recover some of those fees. So it's a reduction in what we owe.
So that's nothing that you negotiated, that was done at the legislation level?
That was done initially when the city, before I was here, entered into it. There was a certain fee agreement that I'm almost positive was probably similar among all of their clients, and that's actually now been reduced. So if we enter into it, then we will have renegotiated a lower fee. But the backstop fund was at the state level.
Okay. So we can start with item 1 for approval?
Yes, it would just be the vote on the resolution.
All right. Any questions from our audience? I'm sure you have a lot of comments on the effect of using opiates as far as our city and crime and all of those things. So hopefully some of this will be used for education or treatment or something like that. But that being said, do we have a motion to approve resolution 01-2022 pursuant to code 4615-2?
Motion to approve the opt back in to the opiate settlement.
And I second that. Seeing no questions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I second.
And really quickly on the next one, we can vote on the participation agreements together. They do have to be signed by the mayor, but I'm going to have you all approve them and get your signatures too, just as a additional. So the next item can be read as one.
Okay. Next item up is the approval of 2 participation agreements, the distributor settlement and the Jansen settlement. Any other comments, questions? Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
I second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item number 2, the participation agreement has been approved. Next item is the approval of notice of election to opt back in to opioid settlement under Indiana Code 4-6-15-2. Hearing no questions, do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
And I second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That We have passed the approval of item number 3, the approval of notice of election. And finally, number 4, approval of amendment to existing attorney fees agreement. Do we have a motion to approve?
Before I approve this last one, I just want to make sure that the funds that we received, you'll let us know what they used those.
Correct. Yes, I'm going to, as this goes forward, we have Zoom calls
Okay.
monthly with the council, and so I'm going to look into more those agreements and what requirements there are, and especially we'll start getting them the next few months.
Right.
So we'll have to line that out, and I will definitely keep you guys in the loop.
Okay. Motion to approve amendment to existing attorney's fees.
And I second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion number 4, approval of the amendment of the attorney fees is approved. And now we move on to the next item, which is approval of resolution 0222. Disposal of police vehicle and equipment. Do we have anybody that wants to? Looks like some fun stuff there. You got,
This resolution, these vehicles, as you can see, the year and the age, they're Crown Vics, and there's no value in them whatsoever. So at this point in time, we always send those off for scrap. We have a scrap company that will come and get our vehicles that do that, but I need your approval to get rid of those.
well, then I shouldn't ask the question I was, if the Explorers could use their
They have 4 vehicles, so they're good to go, so. yes,
Okay.
sir.
Did I see something about a taser in there too?
Yeah, our old tasers, once we're done and their life expands, because we do swap those out every so often, we just dispose of those, but we need the approval just to let people know that we are getting rid of them because they are city property, so.
Okay.
It says plural. How many tasers?
It's like 50.
Oh,
And the 07, 05, those cars are older than I am.
I was trying to count on my hand. Okay. Well, I appreciate your giving us some background information. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
And I second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I do also. That is, the board passes approval of resolution 0222.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So next up is the approval of, well, we have 3 reserve officers being added to the force. Approval of Charles Madsen as reserve officer, along with Mark Hostetler as reserve officer and Sean White as a reserve officer.
Yes. So we're just seeking board approval for these 3 new reserve officers coming on. Charles Madsen, just to give a little brief snippet of where they're coming from, Charles Madsen used to be with Southport Police Department. Now he's going to come over. He has a specialty with salvage vehicles, salvage titles, and we don't currently have an officer that does salvage vehicles. And so we think he'll be a great asset to our reserve division in that capacity to start doing those for us.
That would be as a matter of looking at all those by here or.
VIN numbers and getting those confirmed, because, you know, with those salvage vehicles, for a while, only state police did those for a while, and then there was a couple agencies that did it. I think Southport was one of them. And so now, we used to have one years ago, but then he's since gone at least, 5 or 6 years ago. So now, Charles would be a good addition to our department in that capacity to start being able to do those. His current employer is Pepsi, so he works for Pepsi in his full-time capacity as his full-time job. So we just seek board approval for Mr. Madsen for this one.
And do we want to do these individually or all
Do
together?
them all together.
You could talk about each one if you
Okay.
wanted, then you could vote together. That's fine with me.
Okay. The next one is Mark Cotsteller. He was a former Sheridan police officer back in 2018. He got out of law enforcement for a little while, and he wants to get back in. He's actually a ILEA graduate, so what we're trying to do now is bring on people who have experience to try to get them on the road a little bit faster. So we're going to have them do a road school, and then if they have to do like a pre-basic where they have to get their 40 core hours of pre-basic training and their state mandated training, we can bring them on a little bit faster versus someone who doesn't have, ILEA, no other background experience.
What is that acronym?
Indiana Law Enforcement Academy.
Oh, okay.
So some of them are Tier 1, Tier 2. Tier 1, I believe, is more of your regular officer on the road that goes through the full academy. And Tier 2 is one that's abbreviated, but it's a certified course with the Indiana Law Enforcement Training Board where they go through like a town marshal. It's abbreviated. They'll have to do the full course that an officer have to do like the 16, 17 weeks. It's more of an abbreviated for more of your town marshals, your smaller police departments who try to get officers on the street a little bit faster versus, a regular, city the size of Lawrence or like Indianapolis.
So do they have the same authority while they're on the street?
Yes.
Okay, that doesn't change any of that. Okay.
And he's also a U.S. Army veteran, so Mark Cotsteller is.
So when you say Tier 1, Tier 2, I'm sorry I'm just curious what that means.
Right, so one of them is more geared toward your 17 weeks where.
Oh, it's
you
a
have to-
level of training.
Level of training,
Okay,
yes.
gotcha.
And then everyone still has to get their 40-hour pre-basic in to be certified in the state of Indiana, no matter what.
Would these gentlemen and all the other, and I noticed we've had a lot of people added to the reserve force, so that would be a compliment to the police department.
Yes, I mean, they do a tremendous amount of hours, of service that is for free for the city. They have to do like a minimum of 32 hours to have a take-home vehicle, 24 hours minimum to even be a reserve on our department. So this is all like when we have our 4th of July festival, whenever we have like the Winter Fest or whenever we have parades, our reserve department, they step up. If we have any voids where we have minimum staffing, and then they will come in and supplement some of our shifts as well. So they are a tremendous asset. I believe last year, I might be wrong with this number, but they did at least thousands of hours, almost equivalent to like 5 or 6 full-time police officers. So they do a lot to help us out, especially to supplement our staffing.
Yeah, we just had one up here who is also the chief of our fire department.
Yes.
That's impressive in its own.
Yes. And the last one we had was Sean White. He's also a former Southport police officer. He's also the 2019 Marion County Warrant Deputy of the Year. So he worked at the Sheriff's Department. He's also an ILEA Tier 2 graduate. So I said Tier 1 is one that goes to the full thing. Tier 2 is the one that's abbreviated.
All right. Are doing the swearing in at the police headquarters?
Yes, so I believe their swearing in is going to be next week. So we want to get board approval for them now, and then we can do their swearing in later to try to set up so we can get them into the system, see where all their training lies at right now, see what we need to do with them. Then we'll get them sworn in at a later date.
Okay. Well, thank you, and thank all 3 of them for their service to the city. Is there a motion, or do you have any other questions?
Nope.
Okay. Motion to approve?
Motion to approve the 3 reserve officer, Madsen, Hostetler, and White.
And I second that. And all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes for the approval of Charles Madsen, Mark Cotsteller, and Sean White. All right. No, thank you. Any comments from the administration? Any other comments, or do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
And I second. We are adjourned. Thank you.